It's Sunday Morning Gospel on the People Station. We are WSTI Star 105.3. We're shifting gears now. Imagine it. You and your family go out to a restaurant to eat, and you park your car where you think it's safe to park. However, that parking spot where you are belongs to someone else and not to the restaurant. Say you go to a Mickey D's and you're trying to get something for the kids, and you park on another business's property, and you come out to get in your car, and someone pulls a gun on you and berates you for parking on their property. Say you go to O'Neill's, and instead of parking on O'Neill's parking lot, you know that used car dealership next to them, you park over there, and you come back out. Not only has somebody blocked your car in so you can't move, but they've got a gun in their head and they're threatening your life in front of your wife, in front of your children. Say you go out to the Smoking Pig. You know how we like to pack in there. And instead of parking on the Smoking Pig parking lot, you park on the convenience store parking lot next door. And you come out to get back in your car. Your wife and your children are sitting there. Someone has blocked your car in. And the next thing you know, you're staring down the barrel of a gun. And the person that's holding the gun is literally holding you and your family hostage as they call you everything but a child of God. You tell your significant other to call the police, and when the police come, this person with a gun is arrested and charged with felonies, including holding someone against their will, which is tantamount to kidnapping. But when that person goes to court, those charges are reduced from felonies to misdemeanors. Much ado about nothing except when it happens to you. This morning at 8:30, they're going to be remembering the events and the lives that were lost on 9/11. Many people call it a Holocaust. Our brothers and sisters of the Jewish persuasion had their Holocaust. But there is another Holocaust that took place involving the First Nation people. Some people call them Indians. There was another Holocaust involving people who did not volunteer to come here. They are Africans and their descendants. And the Holocaust events continue today. And if you don't think they do, the next time you see the young man that runs the office of United States Congressman Sanford Bishop, his name is Michael Bryant, a good man, a good family man, a good man who works hard for the community. Ask him if the Holocaust that's perpetrated on African Americans does not continue even as Barack Obama and Michelle Obama and their family live in the White House of these United States of America on Pennsylvania Avenue. It's Sunday Morning Gospel. I'm Lee Henderson. My next guest is Mr. George Boston Rhymes. Thank you, brother, for being here. Thank you for all the work that you do in disseminating information that otherwise people would not be able to get.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Inform us about what has happened to Michael Bryant down at Rosie's. A lot of people, you know, this is the frightening part. A lot of people will head from Valdosta to Rosie's today, from Thomasville, from Boston, from Cairo, up to Rosie's today, having no idea what has happened there, thereby not being aware of the risk that might be taken, because at any given point in time, while we're looking for the gang member, we might need to be looking somewhere else.
That is so true, my beautiful brother. First of all, I want to thank you for being here, for having me on the program this morning. And I also want to say to all my Muslim friends, Assalamu alaikum. To my Jewish friends, I say Salat Shalom. And of course, to all my Christian friends and others, we just say simply Howdy Doody. First of all, I want to say to Black Crow Media, I owe Black Crow Media owner, operator, and you yourself an apology. And I mean that from the bottom and top of my heart. To all council members, including our former mayor, John Freddy, Mr. Carroll, James Wright, Ms. White, Sonny Vickers, Mr. Carroll, Mr. Norton, Mr. Payton, and everybody. I want to apologize because I have talked about them as well as the station. I talked about them in that coming to a conservative radio station, and I felt that they were not distributing the information to other stations. But after visiting the other local stations, most every one of them, I must commend you guys, because you have to use what is available. And I have gone to other radio stations, wanted to get the news out, and when you called me last night, I had to make this apology. And I'm not too big to admit when I'm wrong, and I apologize with the deepest regret to the owners of Black Crow Media, and I will not do that again. But I will speak the truth in terms of local media outlet who does not cover stories that I think need to be covered. So let's close that. Sorry for taking up your time to make that apology.
It's okay.
But I had to do that because now I feel better. I have actually gone physically to the owners of these other radio stations, and they seem like they don't want to talk about the issues. Scott James, even Frank Bonus, and yourself, I must commend you over and over again for the thoroughness of the presentation that you give to the people of this community. I may not always agree with you, but at least you give us an access, you give us a door. And if that's not a true form of our democracy, then I need to be in China and some of the third world nation. Now, my beautiful brother, come on with your question. I'm sorry for that, man.
You know, one of the things that I was thinking about before the sun came up this morning is this. What happened between Mr. Greene, I believe his name.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Bryant.
Yes, sir.
Was literally an act of terrorism.
Absolutely.
When Greene held the gun on Bryant, threatening his life, that is in fact domestic terrorism.
Yes, sir.
And yet the charges were reduced by the judge to a misdemeanor. But this is not unusual for Brooks County. Brooks County, now this is not a blanket statement about all residents of Brooks County, about all white people and or black people and red people and brown people and yellow people in Brooks County. But we know Brooks County can be a hard place to live.
Let's just lay the cookies on the table. Brooks County is the home of what they call Nigger Branch. They say Negro Branch, and I understand that they call it Pride Branch, but it never was Negro Branch. Everybody in Brooks County know that the name of that branch is Nigger Branch. That's number one. Okay, right. Number two, it is also the home of Mary Turner lynching. That is, 1 week, 13 people was lynched and murdered here in Brooks County. And also, in the 1 week, over 500 people left South Georgia.
Left their homes, left their furniture, their cattle, their crops in the
relatives and everything. They left them because that nobody wants to talk about that. And not only that, if you really want to, I got the history of it, and you can find it on YouTube as well. But we also have Earl Evans, who was a black police officer over there, was burned up alive in a car. And we have not received justice in that case because he was going with a white lady, and everybody know that. Nobody want to talk about that but me. We also have the Wootons that was actually went swimming. Those boys could swim, but they found out that they had been drowned. That's another incident. And not only that, I got a listing of people. So Brooks County has a history that goes way back, although nobody wants to talk about it. When I got a call last week, the week before last now, following this incident, the same with the Quitman 10. I was in Atlanta, people called me about the Quitman 10. They told me, say, George, they're going crazy down here. I got another call, and they told me about beautiful Congressman Sanford Bishop Aid. What happened to him was tragic, but what gets me, in addition to what you said, is that there is no news media coverage.
No.
If I'm not mistaken, you are the first one to break this case.
Yes.
And I just want to say to you again, and the Black Crow media owners, operator, and you in particular, I appreciate what you're doing. I was going to go to the Valdosta Daily Times and WCTV and WLBT and ask them why they had not broken this story.
I am in shock that they have to date not broken this story. I couldn't even find it in the Moultrie newspaper, and they have their own newspaper. Of course, they're published by the Times.
Did you find it in Albany?
No, sir.
I didn't either.
No, sir.
And so I was going, I got to the door of the Valdosta Daily Times, and I turned back and I called Brother John Quarterman, who also has a blog called the Area Knowledge Exchange.
Yes.
And he told me, he said, George, why don't you break the story yourself? Well, me being a humble man that I am, what I did, I said, well, I'll wait 3 days. I went into the Martin Luther King corridor, and I did a clip kind of on YouTube, Boston G.B.R. And I stated that I'm going to give the Times and our local newspaper 3 days before I break the story. And so I was going to do another clip today, but brother, you clipped it before I clipped. And so I appreciate that. But getting back to the story itself,
What happened?
Yeah, well, first of all, when I got that call, I sat on it myself because I didn't believe it. That's number one. And so after sitting on it, I said, well, this may not be true. So I ended up calling Sanford Bishop off, and I actually talked to Mr. Michael Bryant. And I told him, and I was very careful because I don't want to do anything to derail a beautiful bishop.
Exactly.
And so I
or
was
Mr. Bryant.
And Mr. Bryant, but I was very careful. But to make a long story short, he told me, Brother Rhymes, go ahead on with it. And we don't understand why, number one, it's not in the newspaper, and number two, he didn't understand why the charges were reduced when this was a felony, and then and I think they released the guy too. But going over there, I went over there, and that's what I do. I went over there on the scene, and I was recording, and I had them to come out, and I talked to the owners of the restaurant, and they showed me, and I filmed the location of what it is. The guy parked to the right of Rose's, and they parked over. It's not even 8 inches from the side of the highway. Therefore, to me, that ought to be city's property.
And you know, I parked on that very same property, and the same thing could have happened to me.
Absolutely. I also understand that this same individual, Mr. Greene, if I'm not mistaken, that he also there have been other incidents of the same nature. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Greene Bryant told me that they think that this is a pattern and practice coming from the same individual.
What amazes me, we know the judge. Any judge has discretion when it comes to charges and sentencing, etc. But to reduce these particular charges in a case that involves acts that could be tantamount to domestic terrorism, had that been you, had that been me, holding a gun on a white man with his white wife and his white children sitting in the car, we'd be probably in the Fed by now.
And to add power and thrust to that, if it had been Jack Kingston, if it had been Kingston or Isaacson, it would have been, not only would it have been on front page news, it would have been in Atlanta, CNN, it would have been across this nation. I've been saying this, radio friends, and listen for a long time. Here in Valdosta and South Georgia in general, y'all listen, please, listen, because I love you. There has been a pattern and practice of keeping the people deaf, dumb, and blind to the times and unable to make intelligent decisions based on facts. That is all because they won't publish it. And when people ask me, Brother Rhymes, why is it that Valdosta is so far behind time? And I've dreamed about this, I've investigated this, and I've come to the final conclusion that the reason South Georgia is in the ill state that it's in is because we do not have a real news media outlet that will report the truth to the people.
When you deny people the opportunity to communicate en masse, which is what we're trying to do this morning.
Absolutely.
That is a sin.
Yes.
Because the people on the west side don't know what's happening to the people on the south side. And the people on the south side don't know what's happening to the people on the north, east, and west side. We have no means by which we can communicate together so we can share our thoughts, our feelings, our information, so we can share what happened to you this week, what happened to you this week, what happened to you this week. Well, this is what happened to me. And you said it so clearly. If what happened to Michael Bryant, office manager, assistant administrator for United States Congressman, Sanford Bishop, if that same thing had happened to an administrator out of the office of U.S. Congressman Jack Kingston, or U.S. Senator Saxby Chambliss, or U.S. Senator Johnny Isaacson, somebody'd be in jail.
Yes, sir.
And on their way to prison.
Yes, sir. And I'm going to stay on this horse. In fact, I'm going to stay on this zebra called deaf, dumb, and blind practice. Little do the people in Atlanta know that Lowndes County, Valdosta and Lowndes County, is leading the state in jail deaths. We have had 30 jail deaths out there since 1994 to 2009, and nobody wants to talk about it.
Why not?
And then when I went to the Secretary of State, I've gone to the governor's office, I've gone locally to the Lowndes County attorney, and the Lowndes County attorney tell me they are not subject to the Georgia Open Records Act, which means the citizens does not have a right to know. I'm not going to quit on that. The Justice Department knows about it. Everybody knows about it. It just behooves her. I am lost for words in terms of how can it happen. There was a white lady, a registered nurse, had all her front teeth knocked out, gouges down both of her legs. I stood before Valdosta City Council and nobody said a single word about their concern. I talked about the streets on Troop Street don't even have driveways into their homes. I stood before the mayor and council, and they have not given the community a status of what the deal is on these streets. I have talked about issues over and over again. I talked about having access to the contracts in the community, local, state, and federal contracts, wherein the federal government gives dollars to poor income communities, including white folk, but yet and still we don't have access. We have been working for 2.5 years.